Druids have a deep spiritual bond with nature and command over the wilds. The land itself obeys the call of the Druid. With the ability to shapeshift into different animals, the Druid has access to multiple playstyles, roguelike with catform, warrior-like with bear form, and even like a spellcaster as a moonkin. Druids have long been described as jacks of all trades, yet masters of none, but in Wrath, Druids fill a vital role as a powerful tank, healer, or DPS. Druids shine like never before in Wrath with new AoE abilities for Feral and Balance, and new powerful tanking talents in Feral, which make bear tanks a top pick. Druids have also been known as the healer with heals over time, but now in Wrath, Druids have a spammable heal called Nourish, which heals for an additional 20% if you have a rejuvenation, regrowth, life bloom, or wild growth effect active on the target. Not only that, but Feral received powerful new baseline abilities such as Savage Roar, a finishing move that increases physical damage done by 30%, only usable while in cat form. There's also Swipe, which swipes nearby enemies, inflicting 250% weapon damage in cat form. This is a huge AoE damage buff for cats, allowing feral druids to do very, very well in AoE encounters. But besides new abilities, the three specializations that druids can play as are Balance, which turns the druid into a ranged spellcaster as a moonkin, Feral, which specializes in empowering the druid's cat and bear forms for either a damage dealing specialization as cat or tanking as a bear, and Restoration, turning the druid into a tree of life and greatly increasing the druid's healing abilities. Each of these talent specializations changed so much in Wrath. So let's talk a little bit about those changes, starting with Balance. A new talent in the balance tree is Genesis, increases the damage and healing done by your periodic spell damage and healing effects by 5%, a nice talent at the top. There's also Nature's Splendor, increases the duration of your Moonfire and Rejuvenation spells by 3 seconds, your Regrowth spell by 6 seconds, and your Insect Swarm and Life Bloom spells by 2 seconds. There's also Improved Insect Swarm, increases your damage done by your Wrath spell to targets afflicted by your Insect Swarm by 3%, and increases the critical strike chance of your Starfire spell by 3% on targets afflicted by your Moonfire spell. You can see a lot of nice changes so far, boosting the Moonkin's damage. Speaking of Moonkin, there's also Improved Moonkin Form. Your Moonkin aura also causes affected targets to gain 3% haste, and you gain 30% of your spirit as additional spell damage. This is nice because it is a reason for raids to bring a Moonkin to the raid for that Moonkin aura. Owlkin Frenzy is a new talent. Attacks done to you while in Moonkin form have a 15% chance to cause you to go into a frenzy, increasing your damage by 10%, cause you to be immune to pushback while casting balance spells, and restore 2% of your base mana every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. This is a great new PvP addition for the Moonkin, and is one of many additions that make the Druid even more powerful in PvP. Another powerful new talent in the balance tree is Eclipse. When you critically hit with Starfire, you have a 100% chance of increasing damage done by Wrath by 40%. When you critically hit with Wrath, you have a 60% chance of increasing your critical strike chance with Starfire by 40%. So those two abilities complement each other greatly in Wrath of the Lich King. Each effect lasts 15 seconds, and each has a separate 30-second cooldown. Both effects cannot occur simultaneously. There is also a new powerful talent called Typhoon. You summon a violent typhoon that does 400 nature damage when in contact with hostile targets, knocking them back and dazing them for 6 seconds. This is an iconic balance ability that is very, very powerful both in PvP and PvE, and of course is very iconic for that balanced druid. There's also a new talent called Gale Winds. Increases damage done by your Hurricane and Typhoon spells by 30%, and increases the range of your Cyclone spell by 4 yards. Cyclone is a very, very powerful PvP ability, nice utility in PvE as well, but increasing that range is very strong, as well as increasing that damage of your Hurricane and Typhoon for that incredible AoE ability that balanced druids can bring. Now, another powerful talent in the balance tree is Earth and Moon. Your Wrath and Starfire spells have a 100% chance to apply the Earth and Moon effect, which increases spell damage taken by 13% for 12 seconds, also increases your spell damage by 6%. Earth Earth and Moon, a wonderful buff to bring to raids and groups. Going to increase spell damage by 13% on any target that you're attacking with Wrath or Starfire. This is similar to Death Knight's Ebb and Plague, Curse of Elements for Warlocks, and another reason basically to bring a balanced Druid to a PvE encounter. There's also the big new ability at the bottom of the balance tree, which is Starfall. You summon a flurry of stars from the sky on all targets within 30 yards of the caster, each dealing arcane damage. Also causes arcane damage to all other enemies within 5 yards of the enemy target, a maximum of 20 stars and lasting for 10 seconds. This is another powerful balance AoE ability, which really, as you can see, there's so many new additions and buffs to balance AoE. They're very, very powerful specialization for AoE, as you've seen. Now, moving on from balance, let's go and talk about feral talents. Now, a big new feral talent for tanking is Survival Instincts. Of course, this is used in many abilities or many situations. This new ability is similar to Last Stand. When activated, temporarily grants you 30% of your maximum health for 20 seconds while in bear form, cat form, or dire bear form. After the effect expires, the health is lost. Pretty much exactly like Last Stand for warriors. Can be used in both PvE situations and PvP quite nicely. There's also Primal Precision, which increases your expertise by 10, and you are refunded 80% of the energy cost of a finishing move if it fails to land. This is very nice to smooth out that energy usage if you miss an ability. There's also Natural Reaction, increases your dodge while in bear form or dire bear form by 6%, and you regenerate 3 rage every time you dodge while in bear form or dire bear form. This is incredibly powerful, and it really helps give that bear form an increased ability to tank by giving it that increased rage and increased dodge. Another powerful feral talent is Protector of the Pack. Increases your spell power by 6% and reduces the damage you take by 12% while in bear form or dire bear form. This is a very powerful ability for bear tanks. Reducing straight damage by 12% is very, very strong, and another addition making bear tanks much stronger in Wrath. Now, there's also Infected Wounds, which is more of a PvP talent. It causes your Shred, Maul, and Mangle attacks to cause an infected wound on the target. The infected wound reduces the movement speed of the target by 50% and attack speed by 20%, lasting 12 seconds. This is exactly what Druids need, or really any melee class needs, is a snare, which is very, very powerful. A 50% move speed snare is great. This is what really makes feral competitive, in my opinion, in PvP. Infected Wounds, a part of the puzzle at least. Very, very good talent. Another good one is King of the Jungle. While using your Enrage ability in dire bear form or bear form, your damage is increased by 15%, and your Tiger's Fury ability also instantly restores 60 energy. In addition, the mana cost of bear form, cat form, and dire bear form is reduced by 60%. This is an incredible talent. It allows you to shapeshift much more freely with that mana reduction, and also Tiger's Fury is very strong, granting instant energy, and also making Enrage much more powerful for keeping threat by increasing your damage. So all around, very powerful talent. There's also improved Mangle, which reduces the cooldown of your bear Mangle by 1.5 seconds and reduces the energy cost of your cat Mangle by 6. Very, very nice little improvement there. There's also Rend and Tear, which increases damage done by your Maul and Shred attacks on bleeding targets by 20% and increases the critical strike chance of your Ferocious Bite ability on bleeding targets by 25%. So as you can see, Rend and Tear is very much a bleed, cleave-like ability, basically making your abilities much stronger when used on bleeding targets. Another powerful new talent for the feral tree is Primal Gore. Grants the periodic damage from your Lacerate and Rip abilities the ability to critically hit. Very powerful when dots are able to crit, so Primal Gore, very nice talent there. And finally, at the end of the feral tree, we have Berserk. When activated, this ability causes your bear Mangle to hit up to 3 targets and have no cooldown, and reduces the energy cost of all your cat form abilities by 50% for 15 seconds. You cannot use Tiger's Fury while Berserk is active, and it also clears the effect of fear and makes you immune to fear for the duration. And last, moving on to Restoration talent changes, we have some really cool stuff. First of all, we have Master Shapeshifter. This is a new talent which grants an effect depending on what shapeshift form the Druid is in. If the Druid is in bear form, it will increase your physical damage dealt by 4%. If you're in cat form, 4% increased critical strike chance. If you are in moonkin form, it will grant 4% increased spell damage. And if you are in Tree of Life form, it will increase your healing by 4%. All around a nice talent talent to help you no matter what situation. Living Seed is also a new talent in the restoration tree. When you critically heal your target with Swift Mend, Regrowth, Nourish, or Healing Touch, you have a 100% chance to plant a Living Seed on the target for 30% of the amount healed. The living seed will bloom when the target is next attacked. Lasts 15 seconds. So this is a very nice anticipation type heal, which definitely helps with druids getting better at healing against burst damage. Having that living seed basically prepared and ready to activate once the target gets hit. Revitalize is another powerful talent. Your rejuvenation and wild growth spells have a 15% chance to restore 8 energy, 4 rage, 1% mana, or 16 runic power per tick. This is incredibly powerful. Revitalize causes the druid to energize the entire raid or group, getting everyone back energy, rage, mana, etc. This is extremely powerful and a big reason to bring a restoration druid to your raid or your party. Another really great restoration talent is improved Tree of Life. Increases your armor contribution from items while in Tree of Life form by 200% and increases your healing spell power by 15% of your spirit while in Tree of Life form. This can be helpful for a multitude of reasons, but mainly that healing spell power, of course, in situations where maybe the tank lost aggro, which is very rare in Wrath, but you can absorb a few more hits with that increased armor. Another really strong, I would say, PvP talent is improved Bark Skin. Grants 160% additional armor contribution from cloth and leather items while in travel form or while not shapeshifted. Increases the damage reduction granted by your Bark Skin spell by 10% and reduces the chance your Bark Skin is dispelled by 70%. As you can see, lots of PvP applications. Enemies want to dispel your Bark Skin. Enemies in PvP typically you're not in many different forms, or you're running away in travel form, and so getting that increased armor contribution while in travel form is really, really nice. So absolutely a PvP talent. Moving on to the next restoration new talent is Gift of the Earth Mother. Increases your total spell haste by 10% and reduces the base cooldown of your Life Bloom spell by 10%. Solid talent, generally for both PvE and PvP. And then finally at the bottom of the restoration tree, we have the new spell Wild Growth. Heals up to 5 friendly party or raid members within 15 yards of the target over 7 seconds. The amount healed is applied quickly at first and slows down as the wild growth reaches its full duration. Very, very nice raid healing ability for restoration druids. Now when it comes to PvP, druids are still incredibly powerful in Wrath. Cyclone is a well-known powerful crowd control ability. Druids are still very slippery. As you can see, some of the talents, they are even more slippery. They're very powerful healers, but their other two specializations should not be written off for PvP. Feral and Balance can actually do quite well in PvP in Wrath of the Lich King because of some of the talents we talked through. Roguelike Druid is a very powerful team for druids, and pairing a druid with a warrior, a rogue, or a warlock can all do very, very well in 2v2, and even more comps. Overall, druids are an amazing pick in Wrath of the Lich King. They can fill any role very well in PvE and also have very strong PvP capabilities, allowing you to play Wrath any way you want to play. And there is no other class with the flexibility to play with rage, energy, and mana like druids can. If you are one with the land and enjoy a diverse range of playstyles, druid might be for you.